my name is Mrs.Mirus. Personally, my husband and I have 6 children, and our oldest set of twin sons, Malcolm and Milo, have been diagnosed with autism. I will never forget the moment we were at the hospital and we went through the evaluation with our son Milo, and I had expected that he did have autism because he was showing signs of oral motor issues. He was walking on his tiptoes. The main red flag right away for me was that he flaps his hands frequently, and when he gets stimulated, that's one thing he does, but he also jumps several times up and down constantly. So we got a referral, and I remember sitting in the doctor's office, and I knew he had autism, but it's different as a parent when you are sitting there and you hear from a medical professional tell you your son has autism. I remember the conversation going home from the doctor's office when Milo was first diagnosed. As a parent, you worry a lot, you have concerns, you're always worried, and because you love your children in a way that is hard to explain. But I remember my husband and I, we were having a conversation. We were like, what are we going to do? Is he going to be okay? Will he always live with us? Will he? I mean, it was like ridiculous questions, and we're like, he's fine. He's going to be okay. He's going to make it. We're going to provide every tool that we can and give him the best education that we can so that he will be successful. And he's done great. He is both of our boys that are on the spectrum are so bright. People used to, and I think some people unfortunately, when they say he or she is autistic, sometimes unfortunately it has a negative connotation. And I remember I was being introduced to a person, and this lady that was introducing me said, her sons are autistic. You'll know them very well. And I know she didn't mean to come across in a negative manner, but the tone in which it said it didn't sit well with me. It doesn't hurt my feelings that my sons are autistic. I love the fact that my sons have autism. It's not probably the path that I envisioned as a parent, raising a child with special needs, but I wouldn't change anything about our lives. I wouldn't change anything about our sons. As a matter of fact, it probably makes me love them even more because I learn so much from our kids.
Ready, Milo?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Are you going fast? Oh my, you're going round and round. Here you go.
Hi, my name is Selena McCabe, and I have 2 kids on the autism spectrum. Emma's 15 and Aiden is 14. Aiden was diagnosed when he was in 1st grade, into 1st grade, beginning of 2nd grade, and Emma was diagnosed in 3rd grade. It took a lot longer to get her diagnosed because apparently girls are harder to diagnose because they hide their symptoms better, is what they told us at Children's. Emma's always had a pretty easy time in school. We haven't really had a whole lot of issues, but Aiden struggled a whole lot. And we used an advocate from the Ohio Coalition of Kids with Disabilities when he was littler, and it made a huge difference for us because they were able to come into our meetings and really know the laws and what he needed and helped us fight for him. Also, there's a school called CEC North, which he went to for a while, which is amazing. It's all for kids on the spectrum. Like, the entire school is set up just for kids on the spectrum. And they have a lot more one-on-one attention, and he did that for a while, and they really prepared him to come back. Back in the day when you'd go in public with children that might scream, or Aiden used to have a lot of meltdowns in public, he'd get very overwhelmed, and you get a lot of stares.
How'd that make you feel?
Angry? I can think of 2 instances. There was once we were grocery shopping, and he used to like to ride in the cart because it was easier for him, and he would put headphones on. And he was maybe 10, so I mean he's a big kid in the cart. And I had some old lady look at me like, "Why is your kid in the cart? You're teaching him to be lazy." And I was like, "Lady, you have no idea." Like, and I explained it to her, and she's like, "That's just made up." And like, I had to like walk away because it made me super angry. We've had some bullying and issues where we've had to address stuff, and it bothered him a whole lot more. Yeah, I just think he takes stuff a lot more literally. Like if somebody says something to him, I feel like he takes it a lot more literally and a lot more personally than she does. She just kind of lets it fly off her back, like, "Oh well, I don't care what they think," and goes on.
Can you tell me about your experience like going out to eat and what that's like?
It's tough because Aiden eats he's a very, very, very picky eater. I actually have been bribing him recently to taste things, so he's been tasting things. Like he ate chili for the first time the other night, just like the tiniest amount on a fork, but he ate it, and that was a win for me. And he tried cornbread, and he was like, "Cornbread ain't bad," and we're like, "I told you." So it's hard because we can only go places that have things that he likes, which is chicken and pizza. That's pretty much the extent of what he eats. And Emma will eat absolutely everything, ever. She has no picky bone in her body. Yeah, I mean, she'll get up in the middle of dinner at a restaurant and just go to the bathroom and rock out. And then you see people come out of the bathroom like, "What is that kid in there doing?" And I don't know. If people ask me, I tell them like she has autism. She's just stimming. It's what she does.
So when we go out to eat a lot, my sons that are on the spectrum have a hard time staying still.
Oh yeah.
And like you said, they stim, and we often get a lot of stares. So like we try to go, if we go out to eat, and it's harder because we have 6 young kids.
Yeah, that's gotta be hard all by itself.
They want to get out of their seat, and like Milo, my son, he eats 3 or 4 things, and that it's so like I completely relate.
Oh yeah, when we go to like
hard.
family, like say like Thanksgiving dinner at somebody's house, or like we go to dinner at I always have to bring him something else because I know he won't eat what they have there. And my mom used to get really offended by it.
Right.
And I was like, it has nothing to do with your cooking. Like he just doesn't eat anything. Like you could be the best cook in the world, he ain't gonna eat it. We'd rather have a frozen pizza.
Right. We recently had dinner with friends and their parents who we were meeting for the first time, and I prepped her and I said, "I don't want your parents to feel offended because I want you to know that our kids probably won't eat what they prepare, and it's nothing against them. It's just they're very limited in what they will eat." And it's hard because you don't want people to feel like that they have to cater.
Yeah, and I always told people like I'll bring him something, like don't stress about it. Like Emma will eat his portion, I'm sure it's fine.
Do you, like, back to the restaurant, like I know my kids often like will leave the table and will climb under another table.
Oh yeah, they used to do that a lot. Or they would get under the table and like try to fight each other, and then the tables move in. Yeah. I found we used to bring, Aiden was a big reader, he still is. We used to bring books, like I always have books in the car so that he has something to kind of keep his focus. Where Emma, I'm like, if you need to stim, go to the bathroom and stim, and she's fine. Okay. And now that they have phones too, I feel like it's not the electronics are great, but they're able to kind of put music in their ears and just kind of, it mellows them out and kind of keeps them leveled out.
Yeah.
I just think if you see maybe a family out there like that has kids that are flapping their arms, they're rocking out, or don't stare at them like a smile goes a long way.
Right.
Like just okay, I get it, goes a long way for us.
My name is Jordan Abrams. For me, this will be my first year working as an intervention specialist and with special education students. I specifically in my unit am working with the SOCON unit, so students that are struggling with that social emotional piece. In my current position, being able to work with those students and push into a general education classroom, as far as the other students being able to accept and working together and showing them what it means to be a good friend has been huge as far as building kids up. I know that it's very hard in society these days with lots of bullying going on in the classrooms. I've worked for the past 4 years in a gen ed classroom, and it is just amazing to see the growth of each of the students and recognizing that students with autism have just such a wide variety of where they could be on the spectrum, their different strengths, their weaknesses, different coping mechanisms of where they could be, and really recognizing that each specific student is unique in many different ways. So in the classroom, it's very important to remain calm and keep it as much as routine as possible with the students. They like to not have surprises, so as far as with our morning would look like a breakfast activity where we really come in and unpack and start our day together with a lot of team building, a lot of social interactions as far as with communication, interacting with peers, and just asking for simple requests such as opening breakfast or can I have help taking my book bag to my locker. Very, very important to build up the students from the moment they get off the bus until they are going in and pushing into their classrooms. So I want to make sure that they, if they are struggling, are starting as much on a positive note as possible, whether it's interacting with a teacher or just having a positive conversation with their peers. So I always try to use a calm, quiet voice with them, lots of breathing exercises and activities, squishing lemons as we like to call it when we get stressed, going down to the calm down room, taking a quiet break in the motor room, and then different exercises, whether it's stretching or touching your toes, just some sort of exercise that's going to stimulate that body movement and get their brain and their body and ready to be on the next level and ready to be in the green zone. The acceptance piece, as far as being able to work together as a team, no matter how different we are, is huge and crucial, and as far as building them up in the future and where they will be in society and in education.
What is your name?
Jason.
How old are you?
6.
And can you tell me, what do you like about school?
Mark Cook Elementary.
Yeah. Do you have friends at Marcook Elementary?
Yeah,
And what does it mean to you to be a good friend?
because I stay at school and
What do you do with your friends?
come back with a motor room.
When you get frustrated or sad, what is something you can do to calm down?
Because good listener.
Be a good listener? All right. Is there anything else you want to tell me?
Good listener is being calm and make choices.
What is your name? Devin? Okay. Do you like school? What do you like about school? You don't know? Do you like playing with friends? You don't know? What is your name?
William.
William. William, how old are you?
I'm 6 years old.
And where do you go to school? Can you say Marcook?
Mario Cook. Mario Cook.
And
Yeah.
do you like your friends here at Marcook?
Yes.
And what do you like to learn at school?
Following directions.
Following directions?
Yeah.
Is there anything that helps you calm down?
Yeah. Devil is calming down.
So your friends help calm you down?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Hey, buddy, what is your name?
Carter.
How old are you?
5.
5? Where do you go to school?
This one.
This one right here?
See?
What is your favorite thing about school?
In my locker.
Your locker,
In my backpack.
your backpack.
And my lunch.
What do you eat for lunch?
Food.
Do you have a favorite type of food?
Yeah. This way.
Are your friends in the classroom?
Yeah.
What do you do with your friends?
I work my schedule.
Thank you, buddy.
Hi, this is Beverly Price. I'm the motor room teacher and the occupational therapist for Goshen Local Schools. Welcome to our motor room. This is the Mark Cook Motor Room. It's a great place that the teachers can bring the students. We actually have teachers who sign up for a time slot that they bring their students down, and they do it like a 30-minute like motor session. I rotate the centers every 2 weeks. I have descriptive instructions for each center, so the teachers, if I'm not in here, know exactly what to do. They know what instructions to give. It works out very well. So over here, we are doing a bilateral coordination. So we actually are having the kids hold the plate with the balance ball, and they're actually walking backwards. So they'll walk back, and then I'll walk all the way back. So again, it's working on motor skills, balance, coordination. Every center in here is designed for motor development of some particular motor skill. So they don't know that they're working on those skills because they're having fun. The sit and spin is a great vestibular activity. It's great for kids. You can sit on it, you can spin. We don't want them to do too much because that can get them overstimulated. So we have a rule that you do it for 10 seconds and then you're finished.
Hello, my name is Travis Tilbury. I am an intervention specialist at Spalding Elementary here in Goshen. I have a unit that houses students with autism, other disabilities as well. I try to include my students as much as possible, whether it's one period of the day or throughout the day. I think it's very important for students to be included. They get social interaction, emotional help. They are able to see how typical students function and see those models. I was actually a completely different major going into college. I worked at a center for adults with MRDD, and I was actually only doing maintenance there. I would cut the grass, fix things, and then I started going on trips to Cosi, Kings Island with those people at the assisted living center. I fell in love with that and came back to school the next quarter and decided to get into special education, and have never looked back since. I mean, to me, awareness is knowing that something exists and it's there and you're aware of it. Acceptance is choosing to take whatever that thing is and incorporate it into what you do, and to make sure that everyone is accepted and has those opportunities. So I think 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade is probably the most important time. I think, when students are in kindergarten, 1st or 2nd, they're still trying to figure out how to do just basic things for themselves, comprehend basic emotions. By the time students get to middle school, I feel like they're kind of off doing their own thing. 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade to me is where students, I think, learn a lot, how to interact, how to behave appropriately in certain situations, whether it be in the classroom, out at recess, at lunch. I think for those students to show acceptance is a big step here, because they're not only focusing on themselves, they are now understanding how to accept other people and to see differences and how to accept those differences. Talking to other families that may, have students on the spectrum is where you're going to get your best advice, because they're living through it every day and they understand what challenges they see every day. And I think that would be a great step to I think just inviting a student in and showing simple respect and say, hey, do you want to come and join us? You don't have to be best friends, but showing that acceptance and showing that you're able to reach out is a big step in its own.
Hi, my name is Mrs.Mirus. I'm an intervention specialist at Goshen Middle School, and I have the opportunity to work with students with autism. Every day I come to work, I'm amazed at what I'm learning from our students, how they look at things, how they're able to express themselves, how they see things, and they have certain passions, and when they're able to express and educate me on different things that we're learning in class, sometimes I feel like I learn more from my students some days than what I can give them. But I think that's part of the beauty of learning and accepting people. We often talk a lot about labels, and labels are sometimes a hard thing because I feel like the perspective of people, once they see someone has a label, they automatically form a judgment that's not fair. I don't like the word disability. I struggle, even as a teacher, an intervention specialist, with the word disability, and especially now that I have sons that are considered to have a disability. I like to think of it as differently abled. Gosh, my sons are so bright. My kids, my students here are so bright, and they have so much to offer. People with autism often think outside of the box, and they see things in beautiful ways, in different perspectives that others will not.
My name is Maddie Latham. I am in 8th grade in Goshen Middle School.
What is it like to have autism?
What's it like? It's like being inside a box with about 500 doors on each wall. I could be in a room filled with a bunch of people, but I could only feel accompanied by one other person. I would feel more comfortable with 5 other people than 100 people, even though I want that many friends. I started playing games around, ever since I can remember actually. I started watching YouTube because my dad got me an Xbox 360, and that's when I found out DNCM and Pat and Jen and Stampy Cat. Those were my childhood, and I wanted to play Minecraft so bad. That's when my gaming career started. It was Minecraft, Xbox 360 Minecraft, and I just remember playing, and I'm like, wow, I can build things? What? And I started growing off that. Now I play stuff like Destiny. I still play Minecraft, Roblox. I'm playing the new Star Wars game. I do want to talk about like how there's more of a spectrum than just me. I'm known as Asperger's, so that means I'm not highly intelligent. How do I describe myself?
You're very intelligent, man.
Yeah, I'm intelligent more than other people. Like Albert Einstein, he had Asperger's, and he was very superior in some things and not so superior in other things. So there's people like me, and then there's people like Corey. She's a girl in my class who cannot verbally speak, and she seems to understand what's happening around her. But she's a really bright girl. She's great at drawing. I can see that spark in her.
Hi, my name is Gavin, and I'm in 6th grade. Autism is something that kind of made my life difficult, but I learned later that autism doesn't make you that different from other people. I actually feel very acquainted with it. Most basic thing is they treat me kindly. I give kindness back. It's the golden rule of most schools. Well, one of my favorite things to do when I'm having a hard time keeping myself entertained is I like to draw stuff.
So when we were learning about rocks and minerals in science class earlier this year, Gavin was able to share a plethora of knowledge about the material. He knew things that I didn't even know existed. Can you tell us a little bit about your collection that you brought to school?
So there's many different types of rocks. One of them I didn't figure out until I had a little help from my friend Internet. Yeah, it was this tannish brown rock called Sanskrit jasper. And by the way, I looked at it. It was sedimentary. I do have a regular piece of obsidian, but that's in a different set I have. And I also had a piece of amethyst, 2 pieces of tiger's eye, and then I have 2 pieces of what I used to think was gold, but then I figured out was pyrite. Because one of the pieces had a bit of a blackish mineral connected to it. I guess it was kind of a mineral to mineral fusion. Well, my best friend is one who sits with me on the bus, and that's Eddie. Well, we like to chat a lot, and we mostly like to talk about what games we play. I'm a bit of a person that likes to be puzzled a lot, and so I like to hear a good riddle.
Gavin loves to tell jokes all the time, and I always fall for them. Always.
That is true. I have a good construction joke, but I'm still working on it.
Can you tell us about, sometimes I know you feel overwhelmed, and when you feel overwhelmed and you get anxious, what happens?
Well, when I get anxious and frustrated like that, I get a little fidgety. I start shaking, and sometimes a little harshly. That I just gotta kind of. Though there are other solutions. The solution I always come to think of is just slap myself on the face, which I don't know why.
Well, what other things can you do to help redirect yourself or keep yourself calm?
Well, I was at a Cincinnati Children's appointment the other day last week, and the doctor said I could try stretching a little rubber band between my fingers, or I could try just kind of rub my fist against my hand. That kind of helped a lot. I'm learning a lot. I like coming here to school. It's a great new school, and I'm proud to stay here as long as I can.
Hi, so I'm Mr. Rohrkemper. I'm the school psychologist.
I'm Mrs. Boyd. I'm the speech therapist.
And we both work at the middle school and the high school. So, like, awareness versus acceptance. Obviously, awareness is the first step. That's the easy part. That's just getting the information out there for people to understand what autism is and kind of characteristics of it. And then the next step is acceptance. So once you have a pretty good idea of what autism is, then it's how do I allow myself to be more comfortable around students or people or individuals who have autism.
Mr. Rohrkemper has started a new program up here at this high school called Students Supporting Students, and I'm trying to help out quite a bit with that this year as well. And do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Basically what it is it's a way for anyone to function a little bit more easily in a social situation. So we design, create, and implement different types of social situations that are fun for everyone. And the idea is it's a kind of stress-free environment for anyone to participate in. Because really, at the end of the day, once you meet a person with autism and once you get comfortable with them, it's really easy it just kind of goes from there, and it's really easy. So it's just exposure and raising comfort levels for both people with autism and other individuals as well.
We're asking people to kind of put themselves out there and not only understand, but really reach out to these kids, because more than anything, they want to make friends and be accepted, and it's very difficult for them. And so when other students or adults come over and come into their world and try to understand them and help them through some of these things, that is huge for these kids. Absolutely huge. It helps with communication, it helps with their social skills. It will eventually, and they get all that practice while they're in middle school and high school from being accepted by others, that just makes their adult life so much more rewarding.
Individuals with autism, their brains are put together differently, and a lot of times things that are different are uncomfortable, but like really there are a lot of individuals with autism who can do amazing things with their brains that I can't do, and I'm super jealous of some of those things. So different doesn't always necessarily mean bad. It just means we need to put a little bit of effort in to figure it out and understand it a little bit better.
So being aware that these differences exist is something that you can learn about, but accepting is more coming from the heart, and just kind of putting yourself out there and reaching out to these kids. And you are not just helping them, you will get huge rewards from this as well, big rewards.
And you know what they say?
What?
They say awareness is in the head and acceptance is in the heart.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Brialingo. I'm in 9th grade. Some things I like are anime, manga, books, video games. Awareness is being just where they exist, and accepting is being accepting of them. While I wake up, sometimes I eat breakfast, I go to the bus stop, I wait for the bus, and then I go to school, do classes. It's fine for me, but for other kids it might not. It might be a bit stressful because it is loud. Oh well, there's Natalie, and then there's Emma. She was one. She actually just got interviewed and stuff. She's a special needs kid too. And I guess deep breaths or just taking a moment to just kind of step out of the classroom or area.
I'm Emma. I'm a sophomore here. I like dragons. That's one thing. Five Nights at Freddy's. I just like video games. By just kind of being okay with you being you. I take breaks whenever I feel like I need to.
When you take a break, what do you do?
Bounce on the ball, just kind of walk, that sort of thing.
Hello, my name is Nathan Andretti, freshman in high school. I like to draw, play video games, and sometimes think. It's pretty tricky to keep up with school. I mean, you can get distracted by one thing and another thing. And also it's kind of hard to focus with a lot of noise with flashing lights, thinking too many people surrounding you. It's that hard to focus sometimes. If I get extremely overwhelmed, there are 5 things I do. One of them is screaming into my pillow at home. The second thing is to draw. Third thing is go into a quiet space and just clear my mind. So acceptance is the best idea to get to know that person has autism. Because of this, if you can accept someone that has autism it will be a lot more easier. And easier to know them is that easier to let them in.
There's Sunday and there's Monday, there's Tuesday and there's Wednesday, there's Thursday and there's Friday, and then there's Saturday.
What did we learn about expressions, Gavin?
Expressions are problems with that don't use equal signs.
No equal signs.
Can you tell them your name?
My name is Corey, and I'm in the house too.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Autism Acceptance!
Autism Acceptance!
Hi, my name is Danne Wendel. I am a junior here at Goshen High School. I am the one who's been editing this main project for Autism Acceptance. Even though people have the label autism over their head, that doesn't mean anything about their character or person. It's all about who they are inside, and I have some wonderful friends who are on the spectrum to this day that I cherish, and I think I will forever. I just really wanted to wrap this up by saying something that I thought of while I was in an interview with Mrs.Mirus, which is
Awareness is in the head, but acceptance is in your heart.
I really thank you for watching this video and taking the time out of your day to try to understand someone of a world that may be different than yours. But at the same time, I want you to realize that maybe you're not as different as you think. This has been Danne Wendel, and thank you for watching.